Hey guys, can you hear me? And if you can hear me, would you let me know that you can hear me in the comments, please? And if not, I can try a different microphone. How's the audio? How is the video, guys? Let me know. All right, so everybody's good. You can hear it and see it. All right, good deal. It seems like it seems like you can hear and good. All right, outstanding job. Well, welcome to the stream. If you would like, and the best way that we can really get a lot of people on here. So I'm only going to be probably about a little bit over, maybe an hour, maybe a little less. So the best way to get people out here, guys, hit thumbs up and share the video because I know how the algorithm goes. You know how they they, they like certain people over others. So it's all good. So I know it's been a long time since I've done a video. Reason being, guys, it's been very busy for me. My family, we've had a lot of classes lately. We've been, hey, Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Nice to see you checking in, man. He's going to be a new, very, very soon in Tennessee. So he'll be about maybe less than 2 hours from me. So that's good to have an awesome neighbor nearby like him. So Jared from Guns and Gadgets, if you guys haven't seen his channel, you may want to check it out. He does he lives for giving information on the Second Amendment. I don't know how he does it because I know I couldn't pay attention to it the way that he does. So he does great work. So I know it's been a long time since I did a video, guys. Been busy, been teaching a lot of classes, have living life, getting ready for everything else, and it's been a pretty wild ride. We've had quite a bit of fun teaching these classes. A lot of our stuff, so we put pictures up on Facebook for that, and everything is good. So I think I really think, guys, talking about the latest and greatest events, especially the last month or so, I get the mood from a lot of people that people are getting a little bit down, and sometimes we just got to look at things from a logical perspective. Things don't always go our way. I'll be the first one to tell people, that I think, certainly we can do a lot of things to fix our elections for sure. There are many states that did fix their elections. If you look at Florida, right? Look at Florida, a state that just one election ago, it was very close. I think DeSantis, when he ran against Andrew Gilliam, I think he only won by like less than 50,000 votes. And so if you look at that, that was kind of a wild thing. Can you imagine if Florida would have had Gilliam, uh, like instead of DeSantis? And then, of course, Andrew Gilliam found in a hotel room at a drug fueled gay orgy. So there you go. That's your classic alternative side of the coin. So DeSantis actually ended up winning by a very small one. I agree with a lot of you guys that there are problems in many other places of the country. Arizona is like a national embarrassment when it comes to that. Of course, the person running those elections was also the political opponent of Carrie Lake. So she didn't recuse herself, didn't debate, hid in a fast food restaurant to avoid questions by a reporter, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I could see that happening. Guys, also, one thing, I want to really reiterate here is that there are key things to keeping a nation, like three things that are required for a functioning system of government. Three things to have a sovereign nation. Obviously, the first thing that you need is a defined territory. Um, you need a defined territory in your. You need borders. You need boundaries. You need everything that defines your country geographically. You need a clearly articulated and defended border. The second thing that you need is free and fair elections. That is an absolutely crucial thing. You need free and fair elections where it's legit. There's no craziness going on. There's no wild times. Everybody's vote gets counted, and that's done literally. Um, the other thing, the third thing that we need is it has to be a functioning court system, right? You need a functioning court system with an equal rule of law. You can't have some laws for some people, some laws for another. You need that. So Which of those three things does the United States of America have right now? Do we have a clearly defined border that's protected? Um, Free and fair elections, got to be very deliberate and cautious what we say. The very fact that I have to say that on a platform should tell you everything you need to know about that. Um, the other thing that you got to think about is, uh, how's our justice system? How is that working nowadays? You've seen what's happened to a former president. You've seen what's happened to associates of another president. So it's all good on that aspect, or maybe depending on your side of the aisle. Some people like that. Some people like it when their side uses the government to grind their political opposition down. There's a lot of people that like that. I can tell you that I certainly wouldn't appreciate that. If somebody that I elected into office was doing that, I wouldn't care for that very much at all, and would definitely speak out about it and have. Guys, here's the thing. I want to cover a couple of topics, and I will answer some of your questions. One thing about it is, if you would like to help support the channel, you can give a thanks, or if you want to ask a question, ask it in the super chat. I'll get to it. With that, whatever you feel compelled to donate, that would be fine. It helps keep diesel in the tractor. I used to be able to say it kept diesel in the tractor, but of course that's no longer true. It keeps about half the diesel in the tractor. So it's wild because on the stream we've got a couple hundred people already tuning in. I think it's get a lot bigger, but we've all got 101 likes already. So almost 50% of the people watching have liked. If you are watching, please help us get out there. One thing that I would like to communicate to you guys is this: so much of news coverage, so much of information, so much of print media, so much of all that stuff is designed to influence opinion. Okay. So when you read a story, when you go to a website, when you tune in the TV, when you read a newspaper, any of that stuff, um, I think that you got to take things into consideration. That is, things may not always be what you read about, and that may not be accurate. My thing is this: if we can look at how this country has traditionally been, right? If we look at how the breakdown of people in this country, there are many things in this country's history where it's just not feasible to think that 50% of the population believes and thinks and wants this stuff. I don't know about you guys. I've been blessed where, in life where, work hard, become successful, be able to help others, be able to pass things on when you get to a certain age. And I've been blessed to be able to do that. But even with that, like, I can see the price at the grocery store. I can see the price that it takes to fill up a vehicle. I can see the price of, ammo. I can see everything else that everybody else has to be going through as well. We're coming up on the holiday season, right? We're coming up on Thanksgiving and all the other holidays, so it's important. And I know it's going to hurt people, and it's going to be like, wow, how do I do this? Do I buckle down? What do I have to do? I can't take the vacation I wanted to, or I can't, uh, I can't remodel the house, or I can't do, there's a lot of things. And I know that gas and diesel is expensive. A lot of my friends are construction guys, right? So they have to put diesel into their trucks and their equipment and the building materials. I agree with that. The one thing that, sorry about that, that's the heater. It's not quite cold enough for the wood stove yet. So I'm just kind of like holding that off as late as possible, but it will be getting pretty cold here very soon. I would say, guys, guys, that you've got to take all that into consideration. I remember my parents talking about Jimmy Carter's presidency and how bad things were then, and it wasn't always the best times, especially with the interest rates, especially with how expensive. They had gas lines in the 70s. If you're old enough to remember that, I know some people watching are old enough to remember the 70s and Jimmy Carter, and they had gas lines there. But let's talk about who we are as a people, right? Let's talk about who we are as Americans, and let's talk about what that actually means. If you're one of these people that thinks that there should be censorship on speech, you probably don't belong in America. If you are a person that believes that you have to give up your right to self-defense and give up your right to keep and bear arms, and that government should restrict that, and that you don't have that there's many limitations to the Second Amendment. If you're one of those people that believes that, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be in America. If you're one of these people that believes you should pay more in taxes, nobody is preventing you from paying more taxes. If you want to pay more taxes, but don't tell other people how much of their income that they should be earning. I'm not in the business of having somebody reach into my pocket and give it to other people. I have no problem reaching into my pocket whatsoever, and have and do every single year. What I have a big problem with is somebody else reaching into my pocket. So here's the other deal. If you're one of these people that thinks that the United States of America should require people to cater to mentally ill people and call them whatever they feel like being called on a certain day, you probably don't belong in the United States of America. Here's the funny thing. There are many countries across this world that have all of those utopian things that you want in place. There are countless countries in Europe, countless countries in Asia, countless countries in Africa that have all of that stuff. High taxes, no right to self-defense, the government's God, censorship. You can't say anything or you go to jail. There are plenty of countries that have that. And so those would be places probably where you would belong, but not in the United States of America. Because here's the thing. I will tell you guys this right now, that if you are like me and you grew up in a normal country, mostly normal, and you grew up in a place where you could count on the majority of the people to do the right thing for the most of the time, if you're like me and you know what normal is and you know how it's supposed to be, then you probably are hurt by a lot of things happening. You probably understand, what it's like to have things and ideas and even the schools and everything else that's hurtful. So my thing is this, guys, that these younger people, they need to know what normal is, and it's our job to tell them with it. Younger people are pretty smart for the most part. I mean, having taught high school, having taught college, having taught that demographic and that age group of people, they know when presented an alternative viewpoint, they know BS when they hear it and see it. The problem is that most of these kids, they are not allowed to speak out because they'll get suspended from school. They are not allowed to say things, or they get in trouble disciplinary wise. And in certain countries across the world now, even adults speaking out against this kind of stuff, they get prosecuted for hate speech or whatever victimhood mentality is out there. My thing is like this. I don't care. I'm going to say what I want to say about it, and I'm going to stand up for what I know is BS. I'm going to stand against what I know is BS, and I'm going to stand up for the things that we know is right. Because if you remain silent and you just hide in your enclave and you're like, oh man, I don't want to rock the boat, that's how we got to this point. Like the little children speaking in adult bodies with childish emotions, with petulant temper tantrums, has got us to the point where we are right now. And my thing is this: I'm tired of abiding it. Like, I'm not that I ever abided any of it, but I am tired of even having to even have it in my country and have it be a present thing. So they are mentally ill. These people are largely mentally ill, and don't ever forget that. And if you think that it's normal to have grown men dressed in women's clothing hanging around toddlers, you are freaking weird, man. Like, you're a weird person. Like, if you think that that's okay. If you think that it's okay for government to be able to tell people what they can and can't say, and that the First Amendment only applies if people agree with you, you've got a major screw loose, man. If you're a person here that thinks that only the government should have guns, and you think that you're the only people that if you're one of these people that thinks that people shouldn't have firearms, and that you're weird if you have firearms, I've got news for you, man. Like, you're the psycho. Like, you're the psycho that wouldn't understand history if it bit you in the rear end. I think that we really need to be open about our beliefs, and I think we need to be quite authentic and have integrity and be open about our beliefs and be able to speak these things without hesitation, without having any problems. Public school at this point, guys, is child abuse. And I taught public school, and there are many good teachers out there in public school. My mother is a retired public school teacher. I was one for 3 years. I believe that there are many good teachers out there, but I also believe that there are a bunch of true believers in the utopian vision that was they truly believe in the brave new world, man. They believe in the brave new world. I'm sorry, but if you're a person that thinks that it's okay for another adult to keep a secret with your kid about something having to do with sex, I've got news for you, man. Like, that's psychotic. Okay, that's absolutely psychotic. I think a dude that believes he's a woman, trying to get access to young children, I think that is psychotic. I think it's absolute psychotic. So, you know what, man? If that offends anybody, then you know what? Then I don't really know what else to say. It used to be they used to put people like that in jail. It used to be those people were locked up in loony bins, and now it's like, oh, okay, do whatever you want to. Um, I think it's good that people are finally about had enough of all this stuff. And on the good news with the election, what happened was that there were a lot of people that took school boards over. There were a lot of people. If you look at across the board, the uh, school boards across the country went to parents that were tired of these weirdos, shoving stuff down their kids' throats like critical race theory. There are people out there that were tired of this stuff from happening. And so, the thing is that, if you're going to sit there out there and say, well, racism is wrong, well, that also applies when other people say it too. It's not this victors and vanquished mentality out there, guys. If you're a scumbag person, you're a scumbag person. It really doesn't matter where you grew up or what you look like. That's just the bottom line of it. And, if people don't like that stuff, well, you know what? Like, then maybe you ought to recalibrate yourself and figure out where you're coming from. I'll tell you guys that the worst part of it all is seeing people out there that think that it's okay. Well, we're going to fight racism with racism. Well, no, that's not how it works. If you truly want to have a republic that is based on the equal rule of law, and you truly want people out there to be valued as individuals, then that can't come into play, right? That can't come into play, and people are always out there talking about, well, oh, well, we need to right past wrongs. Well, what caused the wrongs in the past was government. The person that's going to fix the wrong isn't going to be government. Okay. So that's the problem. You can't use more government to fix the problems that government caused in the first place. All of those problems in the past were caused by government. They were upheld by government. They were enacted by government. They were brought into fruition by government. They were enforced by government. So to ask an entity that brought that into effect is not going to be very beneficial to us. Government isn't the answer. It's never been the answer. It never will be the answer. And that brings me to the next point about our government and our country, the state of things, the state of the American government. And probably, if you're watching this, maybe you're a little bit upset about how the election went, this midterm. I mean, and out there, but you have to ask yourself why. Why are you upset? Is it because there weren't as many Republicans that got elected as you thought, or as many independents or libertarians or whoever you voted for? The problem is that who told you that there was going to be a red wave? I mean, we could all look at elections past and say, you know what? Oh, we could definitely do this. We could definitely, the Democrats are so bad. The Biden administration is so bad that there's no way that we couldn't, that there was no way we couldn't win. Well, yes and no. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you look at the people of Pennsylvania and the senator that they just elected, with probably a little bit of help also, if you look at the guy that they just put into the Senate, it wouldn't matter who the candidate is, right? It wouldn't matter who it is. As long as they've got a D next to their name, that's crazy. I also think it's funny that they also voted a person who is deceased into office. He's been dead for a while, and they still voted for him. So, it's kind of like you got to figure, all right, really what's going on. But let's be real here. If you're disappointed that there wasn't as many people, as many Republicans or as many conservatives or whoever that got in as you'd like, I probably thought, maybe, if people would keep voting for the stuff that's happened the last 2 years, you have to be insane. Like, you would literally have to be insane if you really think your life is better 2 years, that your life is better now than it was 2 years ago. You would have to be a psychotic, like, mental midget if you believe that. If you think that gas near $5 a gallon in certain places, or diesel that's almost $6 a gallon in some places, you would really have to be a mental midget there. Oh, by the way, how's your stock portfolios doing if you have one, or retirement if you have one? How's that doing? I can tell you that I've talked to countless individuals about their retirement. I know many people in their 60s and 70s that were planning on retiring this coming year that are now unable to do so because they took such a big hit from this economy and from this stock market. And it's not just a Democrat thing either. See, this is going to ruffle a little bit of feathers with people, but if you think about it, it's not just the Democrats that are to blame. The Republicans as a party, as a whole, are absolutely awful, right? And I've always maintained this. I've always said that the battered spouse party. They're the ones that say, "Oh, please, please, please don't." And the abuser is the media to them, and then they are the people that think they're somehow going to get on the right side of the media when they're not. So my problem with it is that you've got people like Mitch McConnell, who's been there forever, who needs to go away. I am absolutely stunned that more Republican senators didn't vote against him as the leader. Under his watch, we've had trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of spending bills passed. We had gun control passed under Mitch McConnell. We're looking at no issues whatsoever taking place when it comes to the border. We're looking at all kind of problems under his watch. And a messed up thing about it is that Trump trusted him during his 4 years in office, that he would do something in the Senate. Same thing with Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan's out there right now running his mouth about, oh, well, Trump's the way forward is not with him. He will lose if he's there. And this is a guy that couldn't even carry his own home state. These people need to be primaried, and if you think, oh, well, there's no way we can do it. Oh, yes, you can. Why don't you just take a look at what happened in Florida this last election? It's odd how that happened. People thought that was going to be a close race, and they won there by 20 points. Miami-Dade was up 8 points for Republicans. So don't tell me it can't be done, guys. I'm not this black-pilled person that thinks it's all over and done with. The defeatism is kind of wild. And yeah, I think it's pretty crazy what's going on too. And I do think that many Republicans, especially the establishment ones, the ones that there is no difference between their party and the Democrats, I honestly believe that they are two sides of the same coin. I think that they all know each other and get along and have a good time at cocktail hour. And it's pretty crazy. And I just don't get it. But that brings me to the problem that we're discussing in general, is these establishment types. And I think the biggest problem rests with the fact that we don't really have the concept of federalism anymore. What federalism is, guys, is dual sovereignty between the state governments and the federal government. And it used to be that the senators were not directly elected by the people. The senators were appointed by the state legislatures. And that used to be that they got sent to Washington, D.C. when they were appointed by the state legislatures. What do you think the makeup of the Senate would look like now if senators were put into office with the state legislatures appointing them versus being elected? I can tell you Mitch McConnell would have been gone a long time ago. The Senate certainly wouldn't be a 50-50 makeup. The Senate would be quite different. I mean, we'd probably be able to get stuff done if that was the case. So the 17th Amendment would be one of the first things that needs to go. That and the income tax, of course. How to repeal the 16th Amendment and the 17th Amendment, if whenever possible. So yeah, it's easy to get down, and it's easy to look at this and say, oh, stuff is helpless, and oh, we're all gonna die, and oh man, everything's screwed, and oh man, woe is me. I'm not that kind of guy that's ever done that. And I'll tell you what, it's times like this, that people reveal what they're made out of. And it's times like this where people's mettle is truly tested. And yes, we've had dirtbags in charge of us before. And yes, we've had a lot of idiots in charge. And yes, we've had a lot of people in this country that have been misinformed before. And yeah, we're probably like right there. Right now, we're probably at a point in time in this country's history where there are more dumb people in this country that have zero understanding of civics or our knowledge of history of who this country is and what we're about. We're probably at that point now where the largest percentage of ignorance is out there at any other point in our country's history. And I do not believe that that's on accident. I think public schools are a cesspool of mediocrity, if not outright horror. And I also believe that that the last 2 years, when kids weren't even in school, I think that went a long way as well. Nobody's learning anything. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, So if you really want to see what the issue is an unbalance. It's an imbalance of power right now. There is no state representation at the federal government. That's a big problem. Now, there are a lot of states that are digging their heels in and reasserting themselves. There are a lot of states out there that are reasserting themselves and saying, you know what? We're not going to be bossed and bullied around that anymore. There are many states out there that are doing this. And I can tell you guys, if you doubt it, why don't you look at the compacts that are forming between states, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment? And if you really doubt it, also look at the number of states that are out there that have said that we are not going to allow any federal enforcement within our borders, and they're going to be put to the test. And I hope that they are, because the federal government was never designed to be used inside of state boundaries. It was only to be used in between relationships of states and also international affairs. So we're starting to see a lot of states doing that. So let me address some super chats here. Got some folks uh, that have been here. So pardon me while I look. I have to scroll up here because it's been a bit. Been going already for a while. Let's see. Let me see here. Just going to look for it. If you guys got any questions, as I said, if you want to know anything, please feel free to um, do that. And I think that if you guys want to have any questions answered, I'll be more than happy to do that. If you want to do a super chat, like I said, anything that you would that you think is appropriate, I am looking. Zvi Waldman says hi from New York. Zvi, I'm sorry I haven't called you back, man. I've been busy. We've been dealing with some stuff, and we've been pretty crazy busy. But you keep up the good fight out there. We'll talk this week, guys. If you don't know, Zvi is up there in New York. He's really involved in a lot of the litigation for the Second Amendment up there in New York. He's been doing a lot of things out there with the unconstitutional gun stuff out there. Oh, Oregon. Yeah, I know a lot of people wanted to talk about Oregon, how the urban enclaves can vote the rights of their fellow Oregonians into the ground. Yeah, that's not going to fly, guys. That's not going to pass the court. That's not going to hold up at all. A lot of this stuff's going to get slapped down in the next year or two. And I know it's frustrating to deal with it right now. I'm like all there with you guys. It's not going to last at all. It's not going to last. One thing I would like to say, Elijah, thank you very much, man. I hope everything's good with you. Guys, Elijah is a young man who is in the Navy, corpsman, right? So we got a special place for corpsman, being a former Marine. They help keep us on the right path. Plenty of water, plenty of Motrin, even to this day. But he's a young guy, power lifter, set some pretty good personal records with his powerlifting. He's an awesome guy, so I appreciate that very much. Let's see what else I can get to you. And a couple more I'd like to address as well. Yeah, corpsmen for sure. Like I love the corpsmen. They're pretty good people. They help keep us. They help keep us in line. They help keep us healthy, and they get to wear the Eagle Globe and Anchor as well. So that's pretty cool, right? I always thought so. Okay. One thing I would like to address, guys, is the Second Amendment stuff. And I know that, you know, the thing about it is we've had more victories this past year with the Second Amendment. It's been quite on the move. Many states have been required to change a lot of their stuff because of the Bruin decision. I think that will continue. If you'd have told me, a couple of years ago that there'd be, that there'd be so many states that would, they have to be shall issue now, right? There's no more may issue stuff, not with Bruin. I know that it's going to go a long way. Guys, here's the thing, man. Like if you're at the point where you think that oh man, it's all for nothing, there's no way going to be, we're not going to be able to make it and all this and that. Well, I probably wouldn't have wanted to serve with you, because I always like guys with can-do attitudes that learn how to solve problems, that know how to fix problems, that learn how to motivate others, where they see openings where there are none. I mean, look at what happened with Twitter. You guys, what would you say if this time last year you said Elon Musk was going to buy Twitter and then reinstate people that had their accounts not put back on it yet? Here we are. It's exactly happening. He fired 75% of their workforce because they're dead weight. And now there's never been more use on it than there is now. So everybody wants to be there. So, here's the thing, guys. There's always hope. even when you think that there may not be, but there's always hope. Darren Matheny, hey bro, greetings from Indiana. The Dems have learned how to work the electoral college. I don't know if I can say that, but they've learned how to work the electoral college. Tough to win future elections. In certain areas, I agree with you. I think that it is tough in certain areas. But if you look at how things can happen, you can take things into your own hands in certain counties, in certain districts. You can set up toeholds and work forward from there. I know that's how a lot of people are doing it. What they're doing is they're getting toeholds in these counties, even in these deep blue states. They are learning how to do that. And if you take control of one step at a time, the old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, man. And that's what's happening in a lot of these states. And then it's going to be kind of hard to look at it from other ways. One guy says, I'm in denial. What am I in denial about? What am I in denial about? I'm in denial that everybody's going to go out and start shooting people. Well, if that's the case, do it. Go ahead and be the first one out the door and do it. I'm sure you get a lot of followers. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people. I'm sure you're the life of the party. I'm sure you're going to be the person that everybody follows because you inspire confidence and trust in people, right? Yeah, I don't think so, dude. Not going there. Not going there at all. We've done more things in the last year by remaining positive and being calibrated and stable with this stuff than anybody else. And what bothers me the most is people always trying to drag other people down. And it's pretty sad to see that there are people out there like that. As a person that's pretty well versed in history and as a person that knows how human nature works and has read what our founders did, they didn't just run out the door and start doing stupid stuff. They didn't just go out there and go unhinged and do everything. First and foremost, what they did is they were ready. The first thing that they did was they were well trained. They were physically fit, so that helps. They were physically fit. They had good equipment. They knew how to keep their guns in order. They knew how to drill. They knew how to do a lot of stuff. And what I think is crazy is that, these guys didn't just go out and just stupidly do things. They actually knew what was going on in their careers. They knew what was going on in their manual of arms. The Minutemen, they weren't just young kids that decided they were going to go out and do this. The Minutemen practiced and drilled for years, and did this stuff and were good and were fit and could hit things and knew how to handle pressure. And that's the deal. What I like to do in life, guys, is I turn out all that negativity. I turn it out. It's not that we're unaware of it, and we're not obviously I'm aware of what's going on here, but I turn all that stuff out and focus on things that I can do every day that's going to help do positive things. I focus on being fit and remaining fit. I'm in my 40s, right? I'm still going out there. I can still run, still lift weights, still do all that stuff. I still go out and practice and dry fire all the time. And more importantly than that, I make sure that people understand that we are looking at a problem that everybody knows is there. We all know what the problems are, and you're not there by yourself. So it's pretty crazy, that it's pretty crazy to me that when I look at people that have just given up hope. If that's the case, you know what? like I said, fire the first one or sell all your stuff and move somewhere else. Because other than that, just kind of a tiring, just annoying thing like sand in your eye to just constantly be around people like that. I've had guys in their 70s and 80s with oxygen tanks, pulling an oxygen tank at the range, that are out there that have been Vietnam vets, Korean War vets. I've had guys pulling an oxygen tank out to the range and training, if that tells you anything. So, you may think about, oh, woe is me, but that generation didn't do that. That generation was definitely there. So I'll tell you what, I've had some old school guys that couldn't hardly walk that more. I had a student in class, a guy in his 70s, right? A guy in his 70s, like his mid 70s, like he's right in the middle, as close to 80 as he is in his 70s, still able to get out there and run, still able to go out there and shoot. Absolutely amazing motivational guy. So Jim, if you're watching this, man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he's one of those guys. So it's good stuff. I'll tell you another thing. I had some guys from the Shenandoah Valley. These guys, some of them were, at various ages. Some were in their 40s, some were in their 50s, some were in their 60s, some were in their 70s. And a guy flew helicopters in Vietnam. It's a different guy, totally different guy. He's out there. He organized an entire group of people to come out here and get a private class and train. There is a bunch of people up there in the Shenandoah Valley. They're responsible for their community, and some had military service, some didn't have military service. But you know what? They came out here, and that's what they did, and they made stuff happen, and they got it done. And so I'm looking at these guys that may not be 20 and door kickers, but you know what? They still went out there and they still made it happen. And so that's what I'm talking about. And I'll tell you what, man, like it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I've always surrounded myself with people that find a way, that use their mind, which is the ultimate weapon, by the way. I've always been around people that use their mind, that did the best that they could and figured out things. I like hanging out with guys that know how to innovate. I like hanging out with guys that put in work and that actually put in the work. One of my fellow instructors out here, JJ, if you don't know who he is, some of you probably watching this have been in classes with him. Then you know what he put out there, and he's been working behind the scenes on some Second Amendment stuff all over the place. Certainly Illinois, certainly all over the place in this country, and he's done a lot of work behind the scenes for the Second Amendment. So, you know what, it's good stuff. So, you know what? I'll tell you what, man, some of these older guys, the guys that got life experience, like they motivate me every much as they say I motivate them. So, you know what? That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. And I'll tell you that you guys got to look local. Always look towards your own, towards your family, towards your community. I know some good people out here in my area for sure. And there's a lot of good people. To Borosaurus, your own, towards your family, towards your community. I know some good people out here in my area for sure. And there's a lot of good people. To Borosaurus Rex, what's up, Rex, man? I owe you a text, don't I? You texted me too late when the sun went down. I couldn't do it, but I appreciate you. And you've been killing it on the videos lately too, man. You've been killing on the videos too. If you guys don't know about Taborosaurus Rex, go to his YouTube channel because like he does like reality based stuff. He doesn't pull any punches. He's one of these guys that's going to tell you how it is. And I like it. I like it a lot, man. Good stuff, Rex. Hopefully we can get together one of these days. I'm hoping so. My thing is, guys, like find out what's important to you. Find out what's important in your life. Find out what are your priorities. What would you like to change and what can you change? B, what would you want your future to look like for your kids? What do you want your future to look like? These are all things that I would do. I would say that for most of us, I think we want to be left alone, right? For most of us, we want to be left alone to live our lives, to earn a living, to provide for our family, to continue being the people that we are without interference. I think that's what most of us want to do. And we do that by lessening the size of the government. If you guys don't like who's in there right now, you have it well within your power to change it. I don't know how the people in Kentucky keep it, but Mitch ain't running again. But outside of elections, let's take that off the table. Let's take all the election stuff off the table. What is it in life if you get to a point where none of the stuff that happens thousands of miles away has any bearing on your day whatsoever? That's a good place in life to be. And when I look at my life, I'm out here on my back porch. I'm looking at 3 states right now. I'm talking to you guys, doing a live chat. Everything's cool. And you know what? I don't care what Biden does. I don't like him. I think his administration is grossly incompetent and malicious. I don't think it's just ignorance and stupidity at all. I never did. I knew he was always a statist. I knew he was always a globalist. I know all the people in his party are globalists. And I know a lot of people in the Republican Party are that way as well. I just tend not to vote for those people. So that's good stuff. Yep, they had a person here. I've had a lot of people, immigrants from classes. My parents didn't immigrate to the U.S. to just have it turned into a third world something hole. I agree. I don't think any of us came here. I don't think any of us. Duncan, hey, man, from New Jersey. Good to hear from you. Duncan was just here not too long ago. Hello from New Jersey. It pays to stay positive here behind enemy lines. I'm working on staying positive here and getting like-minded people together, keeping up the good fight. And that's Duncan in New Jersey, guys. He's a hardworking young guy. He's been out here a couple of times already now. And tell you what, man, you keep going, Duncan. There's a lot of good people in New Jersey. I know I personally have friends there. I know that it's tough for them as well. So yeah, man, keep building the community, man. When you can get to a place in life where you can keep building people up, keep doing that. It's hard to be touchable, right? It's hard to be touchable. That's exactly what our founders did. That's exactly what our founders did. Yep. So it's good stuff. Um, fellow Bundy Ranch freedom fighter here in Alabama. All right, man. Awesome state. I love Alabama. It's one of my favorite states for sure. Basically anywhere in the South, but Alabama's got a special place in my heart. I had a lot of ancestors that fought under some regimental flags in Alabama. Silver Stranger, you're my inspiration, my friend. Hey, man, you guys are my inspiration. Every time I think it's getting hard, I think, you know what, I'm gonna go try to touch some lives, man. It's good stuff. Jay Red Eye, Reid, can you educate me on the differences of the fash? Oh, fascist. Okay. Fascist symbology and ideology used in the U.S. versus those used in Europe by people like Mussolini or Oswald Mosley. Fascism. Yeah. Here's the thing. Like people associate the fascism with the Germans, right? But let's make no mistake about it. The Nazis were national socialists. That's what they were. Mussolini was a true fascist. When you're talking about blending, when you're talking about uh, collusion, collaboration between massive businesses and the government. In other words, the government picks and chooses who's successful or not. Nationalization of the propaganda of the news, symbols. If you look at some of their symbols, they're really. I mean, there is a little bit of a difference between fascism and communism, but not in effect, not really. I mean, it's all picking and choosing winners and losers and making money. But at the end of the day, it's the state over the individual, and it's using excess severe force in order to do so. I remember in political science class they tried to make a big deal out of it. Oh, there's a massive difference. Here's what really happens though. Typically in fascist countries, when the leader dies, like the movement's over. Whereas in socialist or communist countries, like the party just continues to go, but not always. That's not always. I mean, if you look at Cuba, I mean, they've had communism now for a long time. And even when Castro died, they still stayed in power. And the same thing in the Soviet Union. Even when Lenin died, when Stalin died, Khrushchev, all that stuff stayed the same. Vietnam's the same way. You look at that. Yeah. When I says, you mean the U.S. right now? It's funny because the people like us that believe in freedom and liberty and individual liberty and limited government, they'll accuse us of being fascist when, in quite the honest, it's the opposite. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh, one guy says Adolf Hitler fought the communists with National Socialism and Marxist communism have nothing to do with each other. Actually, they do. If you look at the origin of the Nazi Party, they were very friendly with the socialists. In fact, Goebbels and Hitler both said there was a lot to admire in the socialists. So you may want to do some reading on that one, man. Leo Graham, hi from Texas. Would love one day to take a class from you. Leo, we've had a lot of people from Texas. A lot of people come train. Yeah, my good friend Paul Howe is down there in Nacogdoches at CSAT. You may want to look at taking some classes with him as well because he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's a good dude down there. And Texas is one of my favorite places. Got a lot of friends there. My buddies Mark and Coy and Wilkie. A lot of people down there. Yep. I have a lot of guys. A lot of students that have come from former communist countries, guys, and they will be the first ones to tell you just how bad it was, and they'll tell you that the rhetoric is pretty similar to what's going on now in certain places. What's crazy is that people that have actually lived in those places are like, yeah, it sucks. You can look at East Europe now; it's the same deal. It's pretty crazy if you look at some of those people that had to live underneath there. There's people that can give testimony as to all of that. And then figure out if that works or not. The gulags were a real thing, right? They were a very real thing in the Soviet Union. Cuba, it's a real thing what they're doing to those people. Pretty bad stuff. It's crazy when you think about it. Right now, the Generation Z or the Zoomers, most of them were not born, or none of them were born when the Berlin Wall came down or when the Soviet Union collapsed. So they weren't even born or alive during the Cold War. Whereas people that are Generation X or the baby boomers were certainly alive and well when all that stuff was taking place. So it's kind of hard to communicate how the times were to younger people sometimes, but it's a very real difference in between, people that believe in free market ideas and free and government and individual liberty, as opposed to those that believe in collectivism. Michael Cox, Reid, because of you, I was inspired to take Constitution 101 class from Hillsdale College. Fascinating. Michael, I'm glad, man. Hillsdale is a class organization. That's a great school. You parents out there that are thinking about sending your kids to a college, Hillsdale to me would be a perfect place for they're going to learn constitutional principles and values and the foundational principles of our country. The founders, they definitely focus on civics, and they definitely focus on citizenship. They focus on being a good participant in our republic, right? And they'll definitely differentiate between a democracy and a republic, because there are vast differences there. And Hillsdale would be a place to learn it. And I'm glad you're learning from Hillsdale on their online programs as well. Pretty good people out there. I like them quite a bit. Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hillsdale College is good. They have free online stuff. If you guys slept through history class or civics class, and I know it's easy to do sometimes, you get some of them football coaches being a history teacher, it can be pretty brutal. And so, yeah, Hillsdale offers that as well. So very good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, the guy says, ask Brittany Grind about the gulag. She got a reality check about what oppression really is when she had a little bit of cannabis oil, and they sentenced her to 9 years. And she's going to find out that not all countries across the world are as forgiving as the United States on stuff like that. She found out in Russia that they don't play along, and they could really care less about her gender or her race or who she likes to date. They really don't care about that over there in Russia at all. And she's going to have 9 years in a penal colony. She's going to have 9 years of making big rocks into small rocks, and she will be required to stand for the Russian national anthem instead of making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as a professional athlete in the United States. And all she had to do was stand there and listen to the national anthem. So pretty crazy, huh? Pretty wild. All she had to do was stand for the national anthem and keep making hundreds of thousands of dollars while her relatives were in the stands for the WNBA game. That's all of them, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it, guys. How wild it is. Sometimes it's very easy to get spoiled, and especially being here and then going other countries and seeing how they live, and it's not the same way here. Certainly, the United States is not. It's not a perfect country, and that's why it says a more perfect union. And it will never be perfect. No country will ever be perfect. And certainly, given that we're not in heaven and that we're not, there's no such thing as a perfect place, but a more perfect union is what we're going for. And as long as there's people out there willing to keep moving the ball forward and keep advocating for limited government and individual liberty, I think we'll be okay. People need to really understand what a special place that the United States of America is. And I think it is a very, very, very special place. And I think that it's not an accident that we've experienced the prosperity and the quality of life that we've had so long. The very fact that we can live how we live, and it's not perfect, as I said, and I'm not ignoring any of this stuff, because on a personal level, I'd try to fight against unjust laws. And on a personal level, I've certainly advocated others to do so. I've certainly organized others to do so, and have certainly taken part in making sure that people's rights are upheld. I do believe, guys, that when we realize how special this place is and how there are other people in this country that have been born here that would try to get rid of it. And I think that when we realize that there are more enemies inside of this country's border than outside of it, yeah, I think you got to stand up to these people, man. Really do. Joe, hey, Reid, got any tips for finding local folks to gather and train with to make a fire team, so to speak? I've tried before, but too many guys with bad motives and not wanting to train and learn. That's going to be the vast majority of people that own firearms, man. They want to buy stuff and then rest in the comfort of what they own rather than who and what they are. If you have one or maybe two other people, you're very fortunate and blessed indeed. Any tips? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those deals where sometimes that stuff just falls into place, going out to the range, meeting the right people. I've been out, at the range before. I met some cool people as well and started training with them. That was many, many years ago, and we still stay in touch. So I would say, make sure their heart and mind's in the right place, and that should be, um, protecting the Constitution. It should certainly be, um, people that are educated in history and educated in civics and how that works. I'd also avoid people that are like knee jerk reactionists, right? Like I'd also avoid people that, um, actually are disciplined in the use of firearms. Watch how they handle their firearms on the range. Watch, how they're like. I would want people that are good gun handlers, and not only just physically good gun handlers, but had uh, a good head in between. A good head on their shoulders and a good brain in between their ears. That's what I would be looking for. Yeah, I would. I would definitely would propose that for you guys. You don't want people that fly off the handle at everything, and they're always talking about, we got to do something right now, and we got to do it, and like all that stuff. Saber rattling, it's bravado, it's BS, and those guys are a dime a dozen. So I wouldn't really pay attention to that. Um, yeah, I can tell you guys, it's at this stage right now. We got to look at it and figure out where we are in our timeline as far as what's going to happen. And what's funny is that history is so unpredictable. If there's anything about history that's predictable, it's that it's unpredictable. So tomorrow could be a vastly different situation than what it is right now. These things start and stop on a dime. A lot of people don't realize just how quick that history can change, and it can. I would tell you guys that, it's such a emotionally charged topic, when we're talking about our country and what we want for it. It's a very emotionally charged topic. But I can tell you guys, I take these videos very seriously, whether it's a live stream or whether it's one that I upload and release later. I take these videos very seriously because when I say something about it, there's people that, um, really take it to heart. And so I've got a responsibility. I make videos for a lot of people, but the reality is that, I make videos for my friends, and I make videos for my high school students. Those are the people that I make the videos for. And yeah, you can get benefit from them as well if we've never met, but I make videos primarily for those groups of people because they need motivation a lot of times, and they sometimes feel like they're alone, and that's just not the case. Truth, not fiction matters. 1776. Hold the line, Reid. God bless. Shout out to Rex. Yeah, yeah. People always shout out to Rex. Man, he's got an awesome channel. He's good. He's a good guy. Yeah, 1776. If you look at what brought us to 1776, it was transgressions on natural rights, and it was a belligerent government by the British, and it was also a long series of abuses, as it says in the Declaration of Independence. It was that our founders didn't just go out and do stuff. They thought it through. They had a plan, and they were also well versed in history, and they also wanted to make sure that, we had the best chance of earning our independence. And it didn't start as an independence movement. That's what people need to realize about the Revolutionary War. It didn't start as a revolution for independence from Great Britain. It started as a, we're not going to move back any farther. If you keep violating our rights, we want our rights as Englishmen upheld. That's what it started out as, guys. It started out as that. Um, and so they even people that enlisted in the Continental Army before the Declaration of Independence went and swore an oath to King George. So a lot of people don't realize that, but it's important. You Yeah, it's very important stuff. You guys realize that they didn't just knee jerk reaction and emotionally respond. That wouldn't have been very, very conducive to anything. And I do want you to also realize that a lot of the patriots didn't have the popular support amongst their community. A lot of those guys they were islands in seas of Tories, and so a lot of times they had to rely on each other. So, um, I really hope you guys understand that you may not be, one of these people that you're probably one of the most passionate people in your group of friends about this stuff. So we got to start talking with people about real issues. That's my thing, is that so many people don't even know what's happening right now. They don't know. They just don't pay attention to it. And the only news that they get is whether they're in a business and they've got CNN on, or they're in a business and they got ABC on. So a lot of people, yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy, guys, to think. that there are that many people that are unplugged from all this stuff. And you got to strike the right balance. Do you plug in all the time and pay attention to everything, every moment of every day, or do you try to balance that out? I think that we can enact much better uh, change in our lives. I think we can enact much better things in our life if we focus on the people around us, and we focus on the people we have direct contact with and influence over. I think we can enact much more change than that in our inner sphere, in our immediate sphere of influence, than we ever could, hoping to go across the country and do all of that stuff. So pretty important stuff. One guy, yeah, hello Reid, Ellie from Nashville. Hey, hello to you. I'm no doubt that if you're watching the video and watching the channel, that you're one of these guys that understands the importance of the Constitution and upholding that. I have many friends that do as well. So Nash Vegas. The guy says, do we sell this jacket? No, I don't sell the jacket. The best thing that we can is we sell hoodies from in our classroom. So yeah. I will say this, guys, this government was designed to be electing representatives and senators and the president from amongst our peers. And back in the day, people worked the earth and all. Of course, there are always lawyers, there are always this and that. I think the people in charge right now are pretty disconnected from us. I think that they don't understand. Like, I would ask this question: when do you think the last time Mitch McConnell went to the grocery store or put fuel in his own car with his own credit card? Probably not in a very long time. Same thing with anybody else in charge. I think there's a vast disconnect between people in charge and their Silver Stranger. My Lord, how our founding fathers would smack us across the face today. They would probably be some people. Yeah, I would say they would probably be smacking some people across the face. What I would also say is this: is that when it was time for them to go out and do stuff, it was. I mean, they went out and did it. I mean, when it was time, they didn't just start doing it though. It was a well thought out process. There are many books about that, and I think you guys got to understand that once they crossed that line, right? Once they crossed from talking into other action, they did it. Then there was no going back, and it was a pretty big deal. So I think another important component to this, though, and what we've really got to set apart and set aside is this, guys and gals. I think the other thing that we've really got to take into consideration is the fact that, yes, we can do things. We can. We our works, our acts, we can go out and do things. But what I also want you guys to understand is that there's my belief system is that I believe that the creator of heaven and earth, he's the one that ultimately is the one we're accountable to. And my faith is that I believe that God will protect the people that believe in him. And I also believe that I have that faith that no matter what happens, it will be for good. That's what I believe. And if you're not a religious person, I'm not trying to be preachy. That's just my beliefs. People ask, how are you remain calm and still in the midst of all this stuff? Well, that's why. I know that he's provided and he'll protect. And I also know that he inspires those. And, sometimes we just got to get quiet and go to ourselves. And sometimes we've just got to reflect and meditate on where we are as people and what's going on in the world. So, yeah. I will in the future do another live stream where I'm going to talk about some history books. I will do some history books and give you my recommendations and discuss each one in some detail. So my next live stream will be on which books I believe that can matter and can make a difference, and that's what I'll do next time. Jay Redeye, it seems we were some kind of fascist in the past. The fascist is on some of our older money and in Congress. Alexander Hamilton, yeah, he was certainly a big one. He definitely wanted the government to pick winners and losers. He definitely was a pretty big state guy. Alexander Hamilton, and it's weird because Hamilton was able to convince a lot of people to adopt his vision for the country economically and politically. So, I think that, I agree that there were some of them that would do that, but you also have to understand that there was a lot of people that fought against that stuff too, that disagreed with him, and there were a lot of people that did not like him, specifically Thomas Jefferson. He did not like Alexander Hamilton at all. Yeah. He's a Hamilton was well out of whack with a lot of people, and he was very far out of whack. Lloyd, hey Lloyd, good to hear from you. Keep up good work, Reid. Tell JJ hello for me. Will do. JJ is busy. JJ is out in Illinois right now. It's deer season, and JJ has he's got a senior daughter that he is taking care of. Mike, what do you think of society destroying men? Well, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? So it's kind of like society can dull your edge depending on how bad it is, right? Like society can dull your edge. So no matter where you are, your surroundings and the people that you're with can influence you. So I think in certain places it's destroying men. I think cities destroy people. I think if I lived in a place like New York City, I would need you guys to make videos motivating me, every day. If I lived in LA or Chicago, or the same way, it would definitely be the same thing. Society destroying men. I think it can dull your edge, and sometimes we just gotta filter out all the noise, and that's why I live where I live, because it's quiet, except for when we're shooting, and it's nice and peaceful. So you get a chance to get rid of the distractions, and you get a chance to go out to nature and go out into the mountains and be quiet and be still and meditate. If you look at the Bible, a lot of the patriarchs went out by themselves into the desert where there weren't the city distractions, where all that stuff. So I think there's spiritual wisdom in that for sure. Very good. And that's the thing, guys, is like I said, I'm not called to religiously. Yeah, I'm not that kind of guy. I'll tell you where my strength come from, and where our founders, a lot of them had that. Not all of them believed exactly in tune with each other, but at the end of the day, they did believe in universal law. They did believe that we had rights given to us by the Creator, and right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Yeah, I think there's a big difference, guys, between self control, and there's a big difference between those that react emotionally, between those that react with calculation. There's a big difference, and I think when you guys realize that sometimes it takes bad times uh, to calibrate people. A lot of people have been awake or asleep. A lot of people have always been awake, but there's a lot of people that have been asleep for a long time. And these are people, because it's hard. It's hard to, during times of prosperity. Sometimes it's very, very, very hard uh, to realize what actually matters. Sometimes it's kind of like, a poor man prays all the time. A rich man doesn't ever find the time to pray, because it's when you're struggling during hard times, we gotta like ask for help. And when it's easy, that's why in the United States things have been easy for so long. We really hadn't had to earn our freedom in the last generation or two. And I know there's a lot of guys that were at war and that have gone and fought for the United States, and I do understand that. But as a whole, in our country, we really haven't had too many problems, right? I mean, as a whole, our country, even though during dips in the economy, it's usually come back up, and it's been pretty easy going for the most part. But that said, right now we're at a point where people are starting to look at things and being like, "Wow." Things around the world are getting pretty crazy. There is a group of psychopaths that wants to make everybody poor and miserable. there, there is a group of people out there that want to make people and cram them like like it's. I get it. There are people out there that would crash our currency. There's people out there that would do it so that they could uh, control. There's a group of people that have openly stated this. It's not a conspiracy anymore. It's not a conspiracy anymore, that there are people out there that want people to be uh, poor and miserable. Look at Germany and Europe. One lady asked, I don't know if I can't know if it's a lady or a man. I can't see. It's too small of an avatar. It says, "Reid, do you train women with firearms?" Of course, of course. They are half of the population, maybe even slightly more. Guys were outnumbered. Now I know how Custer felt at the Little Bighorn sometimes. But all my cats are female. My wife's female. So yeah, I'm surrounded out here, guys. I gotta tread lightly. No, in all seriousness, yes, we do train women with firearms. We have women in almost every class, and they do fantastic. And we try to get them as spooled up as we can. You bet. You bet. One thing that's real important, and I'll leave you guys on a note. Some people wanted me to talk about Trump. Um, well, obviously, he announced his candidacy for president. He's taking flack from both sides of the aisle, right? He's taken flack from the establishment Republicans, and he's taken flack from the Democrats, of course. And he may, he announced his candidacy, so I think that. It's going to be very interesting coming up. Remember, 2 years is a long time, guys. So whatever your opinions are about Trump or not, I tend to think that when the state tries to destroy a man, the way that they've tried to destroy him, that they're afraid of something, right? They're afraid of something that he's going to do, or they're afraid of possibilities of something that he might do. But I've never even seen a guy get treated the way he's been treated. Certainly not somebody with the status of a former president of the United States, and certainly not somebody that it's insane to me. So he must have really struck a nerve with some of those guys. And 2 years is a long time. Whether or not he will win the primary, I don't know. That's why we have primaries, to see who the best candidate is. I can tell you that in my lifetime, I've never seen anybody gin up as much enthusiasm as he has. My stance on it is he's going to have to clarify some of his positions for sure. He's going to have to clarify some positions from me, specifically about what he plans to do to protect the Second Amendment, specifically what he plans to do to rein in the Department of Justice, specifically what he plans to do on how he can get this thing turned back around. I want actual plans. Like, I want him to lay out a very specific set of plans and to be able to clearly articulate it, and rather than just mention it or make jokes or entertain people. I want an actual game plan from him. My heart tells me, my mind tells me that he's pissed off a lot of people, and it's going to be very entertaining for him. I would rather I would rather have him like be the nominee over some establishment Republican. Like, if they run somebody like Pence, or if they run somebody like frickin' who the hell else would run? It's like Cheney, or any of those other like boring people. Like, if they run those guys, I'm not going to vote GOP. If like, that's just too, like, I mean, you hold your nose only so many times in your life to vote for somebody, and then after that, it's crazy. So here's what I can tell you guys. I'm not going to try to tell you. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for. That's everybody's thing. I can tell you that I would always want to make sure that somebody who stirs the pot and then gets both sides pissed off. He may be, the old adage is that you're over the target when you get the most flack, right? Let's see. Phil H. Politics is downstream of culture, but Trump and Rand Paul, 2024, 4 years of Trump and 8 years of Rand. I absolutely think Rand Paul would be an amazing choice for a vice president. He'd be an amazing president, right? I think he would be an incredible. Ron Paul. I voted for Ron Paul in 2008. I think that he would be a great thing. And yeah, I'm telling you guys. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. The thing is like, I'm a big Rand Paul fan. It's no secret. I'm a big Ron Paul fan. It's no secret of that. I think that it's crazy. I think it's crazy to think that we could be looking at another 2 years, just like we did in 2016, leading up to that, of a year and a half. I think it's crazy that we could be looking at this again, and I think it's wild that we can see this again, and that we can get to experience this. I love it, but no candidate's going to be perfect, guys. I will tell you that. No, I've been critical of Donald Trump when he did the bump stock, or advocated the ATF to go after the bump stock stuff. I was critical of him back then. I will not back down on that. I think it was wrong and needless, especially with Republican House and Senate back then. I criticized him on that. no candidate is perfect, but he would absolutely have to clarify that, and he would have to clarify that for me again. And the other thing is, guys, is that there's no candidate that's perfect. We all know that, but generally, when somebody's drawing that kind of ire from both people, yeah, it's crazy. I can't say that I'll forget what he did with the bump stock stuff and the Second Amendment, but he's going to have to clarify his stance on what he believes the Second Amendment is. I think that's going to be very crucial. But there are other areas. There are other things on the Second Amendment as well. But Rand, I think, would be a good vice president. I think Rand Paul would be an awesome choice for that. Carrie Lake, she may still be governor of Arizona, guys. I mean, that's not over. So, I mean, if she's not, let's say that the recount goes to that weirdo Hobbs, if she does that, Carrie Lake would be another good choice for a vice president, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. Guys, remember, 2 years is a long time. 2 years is a long time. I mean, look at what the news cycles are now. I mean, breaking news, is gone in like 2 or 3 days anymore. So just be very, very careful about that. Yeah, I think it's very, very important that we learn 2 years is a very long time and that a lot can happen. But I will say that I think it's wrong what the Department of Justice has done to the man the last 6 years. I think it's wrong what the FBI did to him, and I think it's wrong what the special counsel has done to him, and I think it's wrong what Congress did to him. I think it's wrong what they did. I mean, you can say it that you like him, you can say that you don't like him, but how he's been treated and disrespected, I've never seen that out of any presidential candidate ever. Leo Graham, personally, I like Cruz. He's nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. Ted Cruz is far from perfect, but so is anybody else alive, right? Senator, I mean, I don't know what I don't know what his vision is for the future. I don't know what it would look like. We'll have to see. Like I said, he's running again for senator, so he'll definitely be on the ballot for Senate again for sure. Yeah, you guys I really appreciate the super chat stuff, guys. I'll be on for about maybe another 15 minutes, and then I'll call it a night. I've got some barbecue chicken to get into, so I don't want to get too much longer, but I do appreciate you guys' questions, and it's been a great live stream. I'm actually glad it's working, so we actually fixed the issues then, so that's nice. Not bad for a unannounced, spontaneous live stream on a Sunday night, I think. So pretty cool, I think. All right. Do I have a Rumble account? I do. I just, I'm not real tech savvy, so I don't know how to do all that stuff all at once. Like, I don't really know what I mean. Mostly I just do YouTube stuff. I'm busy. Like, I'm not a tech guy, guys. I mean, I'm really not. I just make videos out there, as I said, for my family and friends, and then people found it fit to spread them around. And we've got over 200,000 subscribers in the last few years. So I don't, I don't know how that happened, but it just did. I'm just a guy that teaches firearms on a mountain in Tennessee and teaches about the founding fathers and the Constitution and civics. So appreciate it very much. Yeah, there's a lot of good candidates for the GOP in 2024, guys. I think there's a lot of good ones, but I also think at the end of the day, yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the solution rests with us, not with DC. Okay. B. Tyler, do you think we're heading for civil conflict no matter who wins 2024? There's a lot of people saying that there's going to be civil conflict. There's a lot of people saying that it's going to be this and that. My question would be, is there not already civil conflict like in these cities? Like, isn't there already things going on and people getting beaten up and people being mowed over with SUVs and like all that stuff? I mean, but as far as a fallout, like full out, like sides are drawn and everybody's going at it now, I don't see it. I think our country, I think conservative or libertarian areas are going to keep getting more and more conservative and libertarian, and I think crazy areas are going to keep getting crazier. You got to find your own enclave, I mean, that's just how it goes, guys. I mean, we gotta vote with your feet too, not with just our ballot, but vote with your feet if you can. I know it's not always possible, but just how it goes. Yeah, I would say this, that civil conflict, there'd be a lot of hurt feelings. I can tell you that. There'd be a lot of hurt little boys, or maybe a lot of hurt little boys that think they're little girls. There'd be a lot of hurt ones of them. Problem is that so many people in this country don't know what real violence actually is. They don't know what real consequences are. Then you take guys like me and my friends and everybody else that we do know those things, and so we're pretty hesitant to use it unless we absolutely have to. We really got to think about what that looks like, guys. And I think there may come a point where that may happen, but I'm praying not. I'm praying that reason prevails. I know that um, the last thing in the world we need would be something like that, because the genie will get out of the bottle for sure. Northwest Florida, Goldenrod, what's up, man? Goldenrod, awesome guy. Recon guy, reconnaissance, right? 0321, right? No, you were no, you're not 0320. You were even better. So and then good dude, Northwest Florida rocks for libertarians. Good deal. Good deal. I miss you, man. I'm glad we were able to get some training in recently. So hope you're feeling better. Hope you're getting some good strength in the body and the mind. Always good to see you, Goldenrod. Always good to hear from you too. Yeah, you guys are asking some some good questions. So I want a constitutional absolutist. Boy, how fun would that be to see some lawyers figure out what's absolute in the Constitution or not, right? That'd be some fun wild rides, wouldn't it? One guy says that what am I doing in 2028? Have I entertained the idea of office? No. Not a snowball's chance in hell. Like, not a snowball's chance in hell would I do that. I mean, could you imagine uh, me in AOC's face? Like, could you imagine me being in the same room with that thing? Could you imagine, like, I mean, I'm sorry, I know members of Congress can't get arrested going to and from Congress, but I would push the limit on that one. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, her and that freak show, one that married her brother, all them freaking weirdos out there. Yeah, that'd be something else. That'd be something else. I'll tell you what. The there'd be some there'd be some hurt feelings for sure. I can tell you that. Not on my end, on their end probably. It's the little children or emotional little children. But yeah, I would never run for office. I enjoy teaching people too much, and I enjoy pushing the Second Amendment forward, and I enjoy interacting with the students that come here um, every day, every week. I enjoy it. I enjoy writing books. I've enjoyed. I've wrote two already, but I've got a third one that's about 90% done, and so it'll be a more of a compendium, more like a daily reader thing as opposed to a narrative. It'll be a bunch of different articles. So yeah, it's a it's pretty wild. One guy asked, "Come see postings from you in Truth Social." I'm not on Truth. I am not on Truth Social. It's not because I'm against it. I just, guys, like, I get like invites to all these platforms all the time. Like, oh, come join us here, do this, do this. That. And it's like if I had to manage all those different accounts, it's hard for me even to just do YouTube at times. So it's pretty crazy. Uh, I can't keep up with all the social media. I'm not a guy that like makes a living off of content, right? I know there's guys out there that's how they earn their that's how they earn their living is posting videos every day. Uh, guys like Sticks and guys like Salty Cracker and guys like I mean they're like massive channels that upload multiple videos a day. I don't have time to do that. I just do it every now and then when I get time, right? When I get an opportunity, I try to make content. I'm not like a content maker. I'm a firearms instructor. So I don't, I'm running a full-time business. I don't have time to do all that. Duncan, I don't think libertarian take is a proper play. The entire thing, let me do my thing and leave my idea alone, doesn't work. Your enemies conspire against you actively when you just want to be left alone. Well, man, uh, the thing is that um, when we're looking at freedom, being left alone is a pretty core component to what freedom is, right? Being left alone is absolutely critical to freedom. Otherwise, it's not freedom. We have to have some semblance of government, like otherwise it just gets real nuts. But at the end of the day, we want the least amount of government and the maximum amount of liberty. I think that's the massive formula, right? Massive formula for success. Maximum individual liberty, minimum uh, government involvement in our lives. The government is the problem. The government is the massive problem in this world. In our country, uh, we've got people that the government will. People need to understand government will always grow. It will always seek to insert itself into your life. It will always find creative ways to steal your money. It will always find ways to diminish your freedom. If government grows, individual liberty must wane. Okay. And that's what people that call for all these programs don't understand, that when you're calling for more programs, then they need to take more money from people that produce it. And then they grow. And because they get bigger, we get less. I mean, look at what happens when every decade it seems like there's a new agency that gets created, or a new cabinet position that gets created. Homeland Security, Department of Education, all that stuff. I mean, that's all within within the last 40, 50 years, so it seems like every decade it just happens. um yeah, i I can't say enough, guys, that I wish people would stop asking for more government programs, and I wish they would stop asking for handouts, and I wish they would stop asking for government solutions to the problems government created by itself. If I was president for 1 hour, like, oh man, I'd get rid of a lot of dead weight out there, man, for sure, within the authority, right? That would be allowed. And I'll tell you guys, a lot of things happen not because people are evil, although that certainly is the case. But I can tell you, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think they're doing good, but as Hayek said, the path to hell was paved with good intentions. One guy says, given what happened in leaving Afghanistan, if young people ask your opinion on enlisting, what would you say now? I'm assuming you're saying enlisting in the military. I say absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's mandates in place. They aren't focused on fighting. They're not focused on combat effectiveness anymore. They're focused on indoctrination. I'd absolutely advise against anybody going into the military at this point in life. At this point, for sure. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't know. I just I would not advise young people on going in the military right now today. I would not advise people on uh, joining any branch of the service at this point. That's not to say that um, there's not good people in the military, because there certainly are. I've got friends in the military still, but um, yeah, I would. I know a lot of guys that are pretty upset about the Afghanistan thing. I know a lot of guys are still putting tears and beers over that one, man. Yep, yep, pretty wild. Lamp oil or kerosene. Yeah, use kerosene. No, I bought it before it got expensive, so like coming out ahead, I'm already saving money, right? Yeah, I think it's wild to think, guys, that the old ways, there's wisdom in it, and our parents, grandparents, they knew what was going on. So yeah, so as I said, I'm going to be on for just a few more minutes longer. So if you guys want to do any more super chats, I'll take those right now. But other than that, I've got about maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes tops left to go. I don't want to. I don't want you guys to get shortchanged on me answering any of the questions for you. I'll be glad to take any queries. If not, guys, I started with motivation. I'll end with it. I'll say this: I would avoid negative people. I would avoid people that are overreacting. I think real strength doesn't come from an overreaction. I think real strength comes from knowing who you are, what you believe, and this is a country that requires very tough people. It takes tough people. Freedom requires strength, and it requires effort, and it requires people that are mentally, physically tough. It requires people that know who they are and don't break. People that are not going to be henpecked, and people that are not going to be intimidated based on stupidity. You know, when you're going to get people that are going to try to tell you it's all over, it's hopeless, this and that, and I just I don't believe that. I think there's always hope, and there's always a way that we can turn this around. And you, as an individual, and I'm talking to every individual out there right now, you as an individual have a tremendous amount of power. Um, you have a tremendous amount of power over others, over yourself. Most importantly, you got a tremendous amount of power over yourself. You can make good things happen for others, but you got to be a pillar of strength rather than the person that complains, that doesn't find solutions to problems. I'm a big believer in solving one problem at a time, handling it, and doing what needs to be done. Today, I was a friend, a good friend. Try to be the best husband I can. I try to inspire other people. So there's three areas of life that people, three areas of communication I hit today: my friends, and my family, and myself. That's what you can do. You can build your body every day. You can build your mind every day. And you can live that life that you deserve. I mean, that's the thing, guys. We live in the best country in the world. There are people that would ruin it for us. There are people that would try to ruin it for each and every one of us. And I will tell you guys, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I believe in you. I believe in the people that make this country what it is, and that's the people that believe in our founding principles, people that believe on treating others uh, the way that they would like to be treated. That's what it's about. Jared Guns and Gadgets, God bless you, man. It says, when are we going to grab lunch after we move in? Dude, we can grab lunch anytime. As soon as you get down here, we can do a welcome to Tennessee freaking live stream, man. Let everybody know you're in free country. And by the way, it's all good. Phil, libertarians, conservatives, Republicans, constitutionalists need to work together where we can. We can sort out the rest later. Yes. That's what I was hoping people would gather from this. We're not going to agree with everybody on everything. But what we can agree on is the government's too big. We need to rein it in. It needs to be diminished, and it needs to have power stripped away from it. And individual liberty needs to be the name of the game. You bet. You bet that libertarians, conservatives, Republicans, the Constitution, yes, they do need to work together on things. And that is, in our country, we've never agreed on everything, on every issue. But what we did find was common ground in order to defeat those that were trying to make it otherwise. Absolutely stuff. I will tell you guys this, and I'll end on this one. Every day you're above ground. Okay. Every day that you are above the ground, that day, it doesn't get any better than that. All right. Every day that you're above ground and you breathe air into your lungs and you see things and experience things every single day that happens, that needs to be viewed out as a gift. I have had friends die, right? I've had friends that died suddenly. I've had friends that took a long time through illness. I've had relatives that pass. I've experienced that kind of stuff and watching it there. But I will say this, guys, that every day that you're alive and every day that you can do the things that you can do, spend it doing the things you love with the people that you love for the right reasons, and make it the best experience that you can, and try to help other people along the way. Try to help each other when they're down. Lift your hand out, pick them up. My great grandmother was probably one of the nicest ladies that there ever was. She's an old Florida lady. She's born and raised in Florida when it was old South Florida, and she made it all the way. She lived to be a pretty good age, and she's my great grandmother. And I remember when she told me one time, she says, uh, you'll catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And the point being that, if you're the kind of person that when you get around, everybody's like, oh man, cool, I can't wait to talk to that guy. Or, oh man, oh, he's here. I'm really gonna get excited. That's probably what you want to be. You don't want to be the guy that's like, oh man, I hope that dude doesn't come over here. I hope he didn't see me. You want to be the former, right? You want to be the former and do that stuff. And I will take 6 feet above ground any day of the week over the alternative. And you know what, I'll tell you guys, I believe in this country. Um, I believe that there are the hardworking people out there that get their hands dirty, that put food on the table for their family, that believe in our rights, that believe in the Constitution, that understand the value of a dollar, that understand how important it is that we maintain our freedom by showing other people what that actually is and explaining it to them and not backing away from conversations because it may get uncomfortable. I will tell you that my thing is that I am willing. I've led an awesome life. I mean, it's been fun. It's been quite adventurous. Um, Seen good things and seen bad things. I've met good people. I've met bad people. But this country is the vessel that made all of this possible. This country is the vessel that's allowed me to do the things that I've done and teach people and serve in the military and protect people in law enforcement and start a business and teach public education to give back and to start a business and to help people learn how to protect themselves from violent criminals, right? That's been a gift. And more than anything else, the best gift that I see in class is the look on people's face when they leave here, after knowing that they're not alone, knowing that they can and will prevail when the time comes. Um, and understand, guys, there are things we need to fix in this country. There are things we need to fix in this country. There's no doubt about it. And in the meantime, the other things that we need to focus on are our own actions, our own families, our own friends, and it's pretty important stuff. Um, and I will tell you with absolute confidence that if people want to try to take that vessel away, right? If people want to try to diminish that freedom, and people want to try to strip away our rights, guys, um, I've led such a good life and done all the things that I ever wanted to do. I don't have a problem, doing what our ancestors did. I don't have a problem doing what our forefathers did. If we can avoid that, great. If it's necessary, it's necessary. But in the meantime, stay away from the propaganda. Stay away from the negativity. Stay away from the people that seek out and appeal to emotion. Um, that's dangerous stuff, and it's never beneficial. There's a time and a season for everything, and I'll leave it with obviously that scriptural passage. So I appreciate you guys, all super chats. I appreciate spending some time with me on this Sunday evening, and have a great week. Help support your families, do all that stuff. And next live stream, we'll be talking about some books and some book recommendations. All right. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.